Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayapodiret Shrimata Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantastoya Bhadrani Vidhunati Surahit Satam Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 3, Text 18 and 19. Naitadrashanam svajana vyapekshaya Gruhan pratiyadanavasthitatmanam Yebhyagatam vakradhiya vichakshate Aropita bhruvira marashana kshivihi. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of his being a relative or a friend, when the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. Purport. However low person may be, he is never unkind to his children, wife, and nearest kin. Even a tiger is kind to its cubs, for within the animal kingdom the cubs are treated very nicely. Since Sati was the daughter of Daksh, however cruel and contaminated he might be, naturally it was expected that he would receive her very nicely. But here it is indicated by the word anavasthita, anavasthita, that such a person cannot be trusted. Tigers are very kind to their cubs, but it is also known that sometimes they eat them. Malicious persons should not be trusted because they are always unsteady. Thus, Sati was advised not to go to her father's house because to accept such father as a relative and to go to his house without being properly invited was not suitable. Text 19. Tatharibhirna vyathate shilimukhehi Shetirditange go yadrayena duyata Swanam yatha vakradiyam durviktibhir Divanisham taptati marmataditaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of relative. For such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. Purport. Sati might have been concluded that she would take the risk of going to her father's house, and even her father spoke unkindly against her. She would be tolerant, as a son sometimes tolerates the reproaches of his parents. But Lord Shiva reminded her that she would not be able to tolerate such unkind words because natural psychology dictates that although one can suffer harm from an enemy and not mind so much because pain inflicted by an enemy is natural, when one is hurt by the strong words of relative, one suffers the effects continually, day and night, and sometimes the injury becomes so intolerable that one commits suicide. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Shri Vishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Assembled Vaishnavas, for giving me this opportunity to speak for my own purification. I will summarize today's verses from the session given by His Grace the Jananivas Prabhu, and some of the senior devotees. Please forgive me if I add my own in meaning or interpretation to this. So here in these verses, there are a couple of life lessons are given. The first is how one should act in social life, especially when uh, some relate along with the relatives. Um, and second is uh, there are things in life that is going to happen, no matter how we try. So uh, that's a couple of things. Let's explore more on that. So here, Sati wants to go to the function at his father's home. However, knowing the nature of Daksha, Lord Shiva is warning her about the future. He knows that his wife will be insulted and upset. So he is giving her advice not to go. Daksha was not ready to uh, be trusted. Daksha was not to be trusted because of his malicious nature. Now, Daksha had the reason for him is because he was envious of Lord Shiva, envy of a Vaishnava. And envy nature usually is represented by a snake. And the snake, as we know, is the most uh, malicious animal because snake sometimes eats his own kids. So, in that sense, also he because of his nature, um, and he could not be trusted. That Lord Shiva knew about. Uh, when Lord Shiva heard words from Sati about Daksha, he immediately remembered the harsh word that was spoken by Daksha in the assembly of the gods. That that when Daksha, insulted Lord Shiva. So the question is like Lord Shiva was a liberated soul. Like so, why he's remembering those words? Liberated souls usually forgive. So yes, he did forgive. He didn't minded the Daksha, but it's a natural phenomena. So here another example is given when about Lord Balram and Romaharshana Rishi's incident, where when Lord Balram, he was after doing a pilgrimage, he came to the assembly of the devotee that was uh, uh, led by Romaharshana. He was doing a katha to them, and then when Romaharshana didn't stood up to give respect to Lord Balram, so the Lord Balram, he immediately looked at his past, um, where and he found out like Lord Romaharshana was not qualified to sit on the position of a Brahmana due to his parents' background being a Kshatriya and a Brahmana, being a mixed breed. He was not pure Brahman. So, Lord Balram wouldn't have remembered it, but since Romaharshana behaved that way, he looked into the past to understand who he was and why he was behaving that way. So it is a natural behavior in the material world, though it is not good to see someone's mistakes and hold them over, but it's a natural behavior. So in this case, um, either Lord Shiva was not looking at the mistake or offense that Daksha did against him, but however, he did remember his behavior and his nature. But by remembering that, he was not disturbed. Just like us, if we remember somebody has done bad behavior against us, we usually get disturbed. But Lord Shiva was not like that. He didn't got disturbed, but he just remembered. And because of that experience, he wanted to remind Mother Sati that those are the bad quality of Daksha, right? So he is trying to give her a message that words of relatives can pierce the heart very bad than words of enemy. We tend to forget the words sometimes spoken by our enemy, but or other people, but it's very difficult to forget the bad words of our relative as they harm us more. If somebody, some person who is not known to us comes and tells us something, we don't even mind it, even if he curses us. But if our relative who is known to us, he they if he say something, even the small bad words, like we feel like miserable. And remember one of the lecture that one of the devotee was explaining that when Krishna wants to punish us because of our past sins, he only does through our relatives, because who else? The strangers usually don't have power to hurt us. So to give us our punishment or for our old sins, um, our relatives or near and dear people, they have a change of heart, and they misbehave, or sometimes say unpleasant words to us. And we start feeling burning, like why he was behaved like that and things like that. So that is our repentance for our some of the sins in the past. So in those situations, like Lord Shiva is giving example here where how should we behave, right? That we should not get disturbed by those. We should see uh, Lord Krishna is in everywhere, and he is speaking those harsh words. So it's we should not look at the person, because that the person is only acting under the directions of Krishna. So another example here is like in Duryodhan, who insult Vidura, and Vidura advises him that who has about giving up the for giving equal share to Pandavas, and he Duryodhan insults him like by telling him that who asked you to come here? You are a son of a kept mistress, so you are a crooked because you spy in the interest of enemy against those who support you. So he asked him to toss him out immediately and throw him away. But even though Vidura, he knew the nature of Duryodhan, he got so much affected, and these words afflicted his ears, and to the core of the heart, that Vidura, he he left for the pilgrimage before the war of the Pandava and Kauravas, Mahabharat war. So this is a power of the words that our relatives has over us. So if we can purify ourselves with chanting and devotional service, when we understand that this is not just the Krishna, this is not spoken, those words are not spoken by our relatives, but um, those words are spoken by Krishna because of some of our to relinquish us from some of our past sins, then we will not react in that manner where we will not be retaliating against those people. Instead of that, we will be more forgiving to them, even though the words may harm us, but it will do less damage to us. Second part to there here is that what is inevitable is going to happen is going to happen. And the story goes back where Lord Shiva was chanting in his mind, and then Mother Sati came and she said, like, who are you chanting for? And Lord Shiva says, I'm chanting the name of the Lord Ram, and he explained her the glories of Lord Ram. So at that time, Lord Ram was performing pastimes, and at that time, Mother Sita was taken away by Ravan, and Lord Ram was in so much grief. He was asking every leaf and tree and say, "Hey, where is Mother Sita? Where is Sita?" So by seeing this, Sati got bewildered, and she said, like, how is it possible that he's a supreme lord, that his name is you're chanting, he's like acting like a normal man, he's grieved by loss of his wife. So at that case, Mother Sati, Lord Ram, I mean, well, Lord Shiva explained to her the glories of Lord Ram, but Mother Sati couldn't understand or couldn't believe that. So she decided to take a test of Lord Ram. So she went when Lord Ram was in a grief. She went there took a form of Mother Sita. So she would thought that, Lord Ram would be very happy. Oh, my Sita is here, and then he'll get bewildered. So as soon as Mother Sati disguised as a Sita came out, Lord Ram said, Mother, what are you doing here? Are you lost? Because so Mother Sati got embarrassed because Lord Ram immediately recognized her that she is not Sita. And again, Lord Ram again went back to his Leela or pastimes of grief, and that that he was missing Sita. So Mother Sati got embarrassed and came back to Lord Shiva. But then Lord Shiva told her that, in you went too far. You took a form of Sita, whom I worship as my mother. So now I cannot have a husband and wife relationship with you. So that provided a context where eventually Sati had to leave that body and then come back as a Parvati. And after that, Lord Shiva accepted her. So these sequences are kind of rolling out as a consequence of the curiosity of Mother Sati at that time to test Lord Ram. So that's why finally Lord Shiva explained to her, knowing the future, everything, but she doesn't understand because that was the fate that she was going toward. So that's why finally Lord Shiva explained the Sati that even though he is not affected by insulted, but she will be very much affected by insult done by her own father because she was also attached. Usually, girls are attached to the father, and she was also in one sense attached to her father. So, but she didn't understand it. So finally, Lord Shiva said that, "Hoye." In Ramcharitmanas, there is this doha. It says that होई सोई जो राम रचि राखा को करी तर्क बढ़ावे साखा अस कही लगे जपन हरि नामा गई sati जहाँ prabhu sukh dhama. Or Shiva is saying that whatever has Lord Ram has created will happen. Who will expand the branch by reasoning? Saying this, Lord Shiva, he explained to Mother Sati, but then when she didn't understand, he started again chanting the name of Lord Ram. And, you know, um, he was and whether Sati went back to place uh, to did what she did, and then eventually she had to left her body. But then Lord Ram, Lord Shiva went back to that's a position of exalted devotee where he was not disturbed by the current circumstances. He tried his best to uh, mend the situation, but when he saw that the situation was out of the control, he took the shelter of the holy name and he started chanting the name of the Lord Ram. So that's another lesson for us as well. When in life, sometimes we don't have control over our close relatives or people or circumstances. In that case, we should try our best, whatever we can do in that situation. However, our ultimate shelter should be the holy name. We should not get affected by the reactions of either those people or persons or circumstances. Um, but then we should take a shelter of the holy name, and the holy name can give us a strength to bear the any situation that comes in our life. With those few things, I would like to conclude the summary. Please forgive me if I add my own meaning or interpretation.